Throwing down the gauntlet, Louisiana's Attorney General puts New York's and California's governors on notice. And they're all jockeying for a position to run for some coveted congressional seats in Louisiana. We'll have an update on who's in and who's out. Also, a number of issues set to be addressed here. We'll see what a warden at Louisiana Correction Center has to say.
From your local election headquarters, here is This Week in Louisiana Politics.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Fred Childers. Thanks so much for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics on your local election headquarters. We have a lot to talk about. Louisiana's Attorney General Liz Murrill, as we said, says her office is preparing to sue New York and California over their refusal to extradite doctors she wants to prosecute. The AG claims doctors in New York and California illegally sent abortion pills to patients in our state. It's unclear when those lawsuits will be filed, but we'll be on top of it. On social media, things got heated quickly between California's Governor Gavin Newsom and AG Murrill. Newsom posted an expletive directed at Murrill on X, which we won't repeat. Murrill answered with a Southern-style slight, writing in response, "Bless your heart, Gavin Newsom." Then she wrote, "See you soon." On to some campaign news. Louisiana State Senator Blake Miguez is dropping out of the U.S. Senate race and instead running for Louisiana's 5th congressional seat. The Republican joins a crowded field vying for Representative Julia Letlow's seat. That race includes State Senator Rick Edmonds and State Representative Dixon McMakin. On Wednesday, President Trump announced on Truth Social that he is endorsing Miguez, stating, quote, "It is my great honor to endorse MAGA warrior Blake Miguez, who is running to represent the tremendous people of Louisiana's 5th congressional district." Blake Miguez offering some support of his own. He is also endorsing Republican Congresswoman Julia Letlow's Senate run. You might remember Letlow is challenging Republican Senator Bill Cassidy for his Senate seat. Miguez cited the president's support for Letlow as his reason for the endorsement. St. Tammany Parish Councilwoman Kathy Seaton is also endorsing Letlow. She says she's doing this to stand with President Trump, saying, quote, "It is time to unite behind a conservative leader who is in lockstep with putting American families first," end quote. The Advocate reports that 2 Baton Rouge residents have started the process of recalling Mayor President Sid Edwards. Many believe the effort is unlikely to succeed, but the residents need to gather about 50,000 signatures on a petition over the next 6 months. Edwards is calling the effort an attempt to divert attention away from his successes and questioned the petitioners' seriousness. One of the petitioners told the Advocate it is a serious effort. The Louisiana Department of Corrections is addressing numerous issues at the Elaine Hunt Correctional Center following a string of inmate deaths in just a few days. The scrutiny comes as a new warden was just named to lead the facility. Some point to drug activity there. Louisiana First News reporter Deshaun Johnson has the latest.
State officials addressed growing concerns inside the Elaine Hunt Correctional Center, where an increase of deaths have occurred.
Everyone at the Department of Public Safety and Corrections truly care for the incarcerated individuals that we are charged to secure and care for, and we take this responsibility serious.
The Department of Public Safety and Corrections Secretary Gary Westcott says it's been through several department head changes, including bringing in the new warden, Travis Day. The center currently holds over 1,900 inmates with over 600 staff members, but before implementing new changes, old issues have constantly popped up.
Back then it was marijuana and crack. Today, we're dealing with a different animal. You're talking about smoking roach spray and dipping paper in bleach, along with meth, pills, fentanyl, synthetic marijuana, and other pesticides.
Officials say 53 deaths were recorded at the facility in 2024, 47 in 2025. Out of the 47, Chief of Prison Operations Seth Smith confirms 18 were classified as unexpected deaths. Although many believe overdoses at the correction center are to blame, Westcott says a lot of the deaths were deemed by natural causes.
If toxicology comes back positive, it is labeled an overdose. And we had 2 of those in 2025. We still have 4 pending of the 18.
Westcott says with all that's transpiring inside the center, he assures that the staff is working to change things around.
We've denied visits to 70 individuals. 4 individuals have been arrested, including 1 employee. Summons were issued to an additional 6, 2 of them being employees, and this is all since January 17th.
I know that there's a handful of bad employees, but 99% of you are dedicated correctional professionals that are trying to make a difference.
Deshaun Johnson, Louisiana First News.
Now, we asked officials to confirm if any families filed wrongful death lawsuits against the center, and we're told we'd need to file an open records request for that information. We'll report back when we get that information. We'll take a look at the security measures in place for Mardi Gras in Lafayette following that parade shooting in Clinton, and new requirements for SNAP benefit recipients after an effort to crack down on abuse. That and more next.
This is your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. Authorities in Lafayette are getting ready to keep residents safe as Mardi Gras festivities kick into high gear there. Reporter Jasmine Dean has those details.
The Lafayette Police Department says when it comes to ensuring safe and secure parades during Mardi Gras, there are multiple aspects that go into planning.
We take best practices from across the nation and we try to implement them here.
Senior Corporal David Spencer with the Lafayette Police Department says planning for Mardi Gras season starts a year in advance.
So Lafayette Police Department begins preparing for Mardi Gras 2026, the day after Mardi Gras 2025.
Making sure routes are secure and safety measures are put in place, Spencer says all of LPD's officers are on duty to ensure parades are as safe as possible.
Mardi Gras is an all hands on deck. Every Lafayette police officer works. They have police officers in uniform that you see, and there's police officers that you don't see, and we take it very serious.
With a recent shooting in Clinton where 7 people, including a 6-year-old, was injured at a Mardi Gras parade, LPD wants to make sure parades here in Lafayette remain safe and family-friendly.
Lafayette has a family-friendly oriented parade. We want everybody to come out, have a good time, stay safe, be aware of your surroundings, stay behind the barricades, just practice general safety for our Mardi Gras. We're all going to have a great time.
For Mardi Gras safety tips, visit our website, klfy.com. In Lafayette, Jasmine Dean, KLFY News 10.
Governor Jeff Landry says Louisiana is receiving more than $500 million in disaster recovery aid from FEMA. The money is supposed to help fund 165 projects throughout the state, some of which are meant to repair and restore power lines damaged during Hurricane Ida. The governor says $84 million is going to the West Bell Pass Barrier Headline Restoration Project. $66 million is going towards waterline replacement work in Jefferson Parish. New changes to SNAP are now in effect as a result of the Big Beautiful Bill, including new work requirements. This adjustment is for Americans who receive benefits for more than 3 months over 3 years, which is the time limit. The age limit was raised from 54 to 64 for able-bodied adults who don't have dependents. The age of exemptions for those with responsibility for a child was lowered to 14. The Trump administration says the work requirements are necessary to prevent waste, fraud, and abuse. The Baton Rouge Epicurean Society is donating more than $120,000 to local charities for childhood health. Several nonprofit representatives were at the event to receive the check. The Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank CEO, Liz Pfeiffer, told us what a donation like this means.
Back into the community to support food insecurity and make sure that everyone from the elderly down to children, they have a specific focus on childhood nutrition. And so that's great for us at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank because we're working to make sure that every child and every household has the food they need each day.
According to feedinglouisiana.org, 727,000 people in Louisiana face food insecurity. Coming up, I'll talk with U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy about his effort to target those who traffic deadly drugs with the click of a mouse. That and a few other topics as well. We'll be right back.
This is your local election headquarters.
Welcome back to This Week in Louisiana Politics. I want to go ahead and welcome in U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican from Louisiana. He joins us via Zoom from Washington, D.C. Senator, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Fred, great to be with you. I feel like I'm back home, and I'd rather be back home than up here in D.C.
Yeah, I bet. So we have a lot to talk about. We have a few topics we want to discuss. One, I know you've already gotten your Halt Fentanyl bill signed by the president. It's now law, and it's part of your effort to stop the spread of the very dangerous drug fentanyl. Now you've introduced the Halt Fentanyl on Social Media Act. Is this to keep fentanyl from being trafficked through social media platforms?
Absolutely. Think about it. A child, a teenager, can go on a social media platform and can order fentanyl. Now, we've made a lot of progress since President Trump has become president in decreasing the rate of overdoses, like 41%. That's been controlling the border. It's been my Halt Fentanyl bill, which the president signed into law and said was one of the most important bills he would sign this year. But also, we want to give even more. For if you shut down the border, they're going to send it another way. And one way is to order it through social media and to get it through the mail. And so we're going to try and shut that down too. Wherever you can plug that hole, that fentanyl's coming through, we want to plug it.
And I want to get your comments on this. I think parents really need to be aware of this. One of the comments on the press release that you sent over about this, somebody said that teens unknowingly purchase drugs laced with fentanyl. Is that true?
Yes. So
Wow.
there are overdoses of people who think they're taking a sleeping pill, and the sleeping pill has fentanyl and they die. When we had our Halt Fentanyl Act ceremony in Baton Rouge, parents came and spoke of their children overdosing from circumstances like that. Of course, the message is don't take any pill if not prescribed by your doctor. Period. End of story. But you can order these pills over the internet via social media, and they're laced, and people are taking fentanyl and they don't know they are, and they die.
Do these platforms bear some responsibility?
Yeah, I think so. And one of the things we're trying to do is establish responsibility. Right now, for example, YouTube screens, I don't know, there's like 1 million YouTubes put up a day or something like that, maybe more. They screen to make sure it's not copyrighted, it's not pornography, it's not other things that shouldn't be done. So the social media platforms can screen for inappropriate content, and that's what we want them to do.
All right, switching gears here a little bit. I want to talk about this $1.3 billion that you secured for the state through the appropriations package that has now been passed out of the legislature. What sort of improvements can we see throughout the state?
Throughout the state. $137 million going to the Morganza to the Gulf to help protect, to help continue to build the flood control structure so that our bayou region is not flooded. There's money in Baton Rouge for drainage projects along Airline Highway to try and make that corridor safer and more secure. I can go around the state and point at things like this. There's also money for Fort Polk, for Barksdale, for the Belle Chase Naval, and for Louisiana National Guard. There's money for our universities. For obviously the military, it makes us more secure. For the universities, it helps create opportunity. For example, Centenary is getting money in Shreveport to help them better educate pre-med students. It's something that we're doing for all aspects of our life in order to make our life in Louisiana a better life.
I'm going to switch gears one more time here, Senator. I want to talk to you about the letter that you sent to the Secretary of War asking for them to make an investment into some of Louisiana's southern shipyards to help them with the nation's defense. What were you hoping to get from that letter?
The president wants to rebuild our capacity to build ships. I like that. Now, Louisiana has lots of boat building facilities throughout our Gulf Coast, and people from across the state have small businesses who actually support that boat building capability. So far, all this money has been going to the bigger firms in Alabama or Mississippi or Florida that make big warships. Our folks, they also make parts of that big warship. So if you're going to invest to build up infrastructure, invest with us as well as with them. Our workers are helping to create these battleships as well. We're just making the subunits. So we want those jobs, we want that infrastructure, and we want our country to have the benefit of the expertise of our companies and our workers. It is something good for the military, our defense, our workers, and our state, and I'm going to push for it.
And you had mentioned the bigger shipyards or the primary shipyards. Are there not enough workers in those primary shipyards right now?
So what they do is they will take a component of a bigger warship or an aircraft carrier or submarine, maybe not a submarine, and they will ask our builders to build that subunit. And so, if you will, they outsource components. Well, if you're outsourcing components, you should also outsource the dollars to build up the capability. I want more of those components built in my state. Why? It takes us way too long to build a ship. And if you just concentrate everything in one community, there's no way you're going to speed the process. But if in parallel you're building something here, something here, something here, and something there, and then you join them at the end, you speed it up. We're in an international competition with China. How do we make sure we can protect ourselves if they decide to attack us? One way is this boat building capability. You got to build it in parallel, not all in one place. Our state should be part of that process.
And South Louisiana is no stranger to helping with the nation's defense or war effort. You might recall the World War II, the Miguez boat, and you can see that stuff at the museum down there in New Orleans. It's kind of ironic that now we're sending a letter asking them to revisit this issue. That man built a huge company from that endeavor for the Miguez boats.
Yes, he did. And still, right now, we're building significant boats. A ship, if you will, is like a battleship, and a boat would be like a Coast Guard cutter. So we have Bollinger building Coast Guard cutters down in South Louisiana. We have Metal Shark building things for the Marines. So we have this activity. We just know that our nation needs to be able to do this faster. And if we build up capability in South Louisiana to help the bigger shipyards, then they can go faster too. It's about defending our country. But by the way, creating jobs in Louisiana as well.
Yeah. Have you received any feedback from the letter?
Just sent it back. Senator Kennedy joined with me and Congressman Higgins, and we're going to push to make sure it's considered. We want those dollars to come to our state to create those jobs to better defend our country.
All right, we'll follow that closely. We'll have to leave it there. Senator Bill Cassidy, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Fred.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is your local election headquarters.
Well, this is bittersweet. This was my last show. I've decided to move on and do something else as a career, leaving behind a nearly 30-year career in broadcast journalism. Preparing for this show, I've thought about the journey here at this station specifically, spanning 10 years of working to ensure it lives up to the name your local election headquarters. With help from talented producers, reporters, and photographers, and some behind-the-scenes people, very important, we did that through award-winning political coverage. We always called it right down the middle, the way it's supposed to be. I'm proud of the work we put in. Long days at the legislative sessions, coverage of various campaigns and election nights, and some very contentious gubernatorial debates. I won't forget those. We played a small but significant role in what makes Louisiana so interesting and fascinating. I consider it an honor to be trusted with that mission for so long, but more so to be trusted by you, the viewer, to deliver the political stories that matter to you. Whoever takes this spot over, just know they'll have the same mission, and you'll be in good hands. So for my final sign-off, thanks for watching This Week in Louisiana Politics. I'm Fred Childers. Continue to stay informed. By the way, I'm staying in the great state of Louisiana, so if you see me around, stop and say hi, especially if you want to discuss politics, because I'll be missing it.